What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So over the last couple of videos, I've been getting some comments just saying, where do I see things going post earnings by the end of the week? And honestly, after everything I'm going to go over in a second, it's kind of comical for anyone to give a prediction of where SoFi is going to be by the end of the week, because let's start off with data points. So you have on Tuesday job openings coming out. 7.8 mil is a forecast. In the past, that has caused a hell of a lot of volatility, largely because of what Powell has mentioned. You have GDP forecast of 3.3% on a quarter-over-quarter basis. That's coming out on Tuesday. Thursday, you have PCE. So obviously the Feds like to look at PCE rather than CPI as a true indicator of inflation. So that's coming out again on Thursday. Friday, to cap it all off, you have non-farm payroll, unemployment rate, which right now the forecast is 4.2, and then manufacturing. So forecast right now is 47.5, so it is below that 50, showing more of a contraction within the broader market. So every single data point that I did bring up has the ability to really shake the broader market. So not even counting SoFi's earnings, all of this is going to cause a lot of volatility in the whole broader market. And then of course, companies unveiling their earnings this week also has the ability to really shake the broader market up, because you have Apple, Intel, you have Microsoft, a lot of big names, and then even yours truly on Tuesday before the market does open. And so everything has and it will cause a lot of volatility. So just be prepared for that. So I'm going to go over some support and resistance points and some bullish things, at least going into SoFi's upcoming earnings. But starting off with some expectations, it shows 4 cents, but I believe it is actually 4.68 for the earnings per share. I don't know why Seeking Alpha is actually rounding it down, but beside the point, 633.8 mil for the revenue. And so that's actually gone up quite a lot over the last little bit. But in my opinion, I think SoFi can easily still exceed that. Over the last 90 days, there has been 9 positive and 0 negative revisions to the earnings per share. And this time around, so roughly over the last 2 weeks, Wall Street has been actually taking companies' earnings for face value, not really just playing it purely based on future guidance. So in my opinion, if SoFi does and kind of still has the phenomenal growth that, based on all the data points, shows is coming, then SoFi is going to easily go up and have another new 52-week, or possibly, well, maybe not an all-time high, because I think SoFi has been at that high of $20-something. So I don't think we'll see that this time around, but at least most definitely a 52-week high is anticipated based on options. Shorts will be ready to pounce based on every data point that I did bring up. So on Friday, shorts did increase 764,000 shares. 16.81% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 175.88 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow minimum is negative, so there is that broker leading into SoFi's earnings, really trying to drum up some business, add some kind of downward pressure and stuff like that. So yeah, I think in reality, shorts are, I would like to say that they're screwed, but they must be acting based on something. I'm not really sure. Historically, SoFi always does run up to their earnings, and then regardless of the data, it sells off. I can only anticipate that is the basis of why they are still in it, unless they really do like punishment, but we'll just have to, I guess, essentially wait and see. Currently, there is $1.91 billion in shorts leading into their earnings. So I don't know, either they're going to come out very, very smart, or they're going to be the stupidest individuals out there. A couple more days and we will find out. But based on this, so I always like to go over kind of the open interest and stuff like that. So encumbering their earnings, so the week ending November the 1st, you have a very good wall. So this shows all the puts, all the calls. So there is roughly around 32,366 at that 12. So in reality, this is where the options is kind of pointing for it to go to. Options is just merely a sentiment, though it does not move the stock price. But essentially, if you kind of compare it with this right here, so the historical risk reversal skew, notice how this goes down dramatically. That goes to show that shorts have been hedging. So based on this right here, matches with this kind of abnormal spike around 12, it goes to show that shorts are anticipating for it to be in excess of $12. Of course, you have some other bullish ones around like the $13 range and stuff like that, even as high as 15. There's 7,400 at that $15 strike price. So yeah, honestly, it's a very fun time. Of course, all of this might not just be encumbering SoFi's earnings. A lot of the data points could be some driving factors behind that, but yeah, it could make for a very fun time based on where SoFi did close. So closed at $10.99 or $10.98 or whatever it was. So that does mean that 28,000 at the 11 and above all does expire worthless. So as far as right now, you have that 13,000 at 10.50, 7,000 at 10, 7,000 at 9.50, and also 7,000 at 9, and so forth and so forth. So market makers come Monday, we'll have to cover that. That'll equate to roughly around 2 point something million shares. So you might have a little bit of a spike corresponding with that, and similar to what has happened over the last couple Mondays. So you could see a good level of buying. Keep in mind the momentum is very, very strong with SoFi, and even on a larger scope, fear and greed index is under the greed category. So people's appetite for risk is on the table. And I feel like with this week that's coming out and everything that's coming out, I've kind of talked on how I feel like there is going to be a big rotation that does happen. I think this week might be that deciding point that would really prompt individuals to leave money markets and go back into equities, causing a very similar spike to what happened in 2021. So I don't know if a lot of you have been investing that far back, but transitioning from 2020 to 2021, there was a lot of optimism and momentum in the broader market, a lot of kind of capital rushing in. So as a byproduct, pretty much everything ran up. But right now with it at $10.99, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. I'm looking at the 1 week chart on a side note, but $8.69 is going to be that strong support. So a lot of these are very strong supports as well as resistance points. So some ones to watch for this week for resistance is $11.47, $13.19, and then $15.96. If you're looking for more of a, I guess, a short-term support, just kind of take note of this. So 11.13, 10.70, and then 10.44. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on SoFi. It's going to be a very volatile week, even aside from SoFi's earnings, but I think this might be the very first time that SoFi, assuming the results are good, will actually move higher. Because previously, if we looked at a lot of the data points that I always bring up during that time period, I looked at kind of the options data during previous ones, and it wasn't as optimistic as this. You always had a influx of puts. So yeah, it's going to be a very fun time. Let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Do you think that SoFi is going to hit that $15 range, similar to some of those call options, or do you think it is going to pull back to possibly 8? Just to give you a quick overview. So the puts are anticipating for it to be sub 10. So you kind of have that as a benchmark between 10 and ultimately $12, kind of both extremes, which in reality, even if it does consolidate to $10, still, like on a month over month basis, it's still up quite a lot. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One thing that I just wanted to share with you. I did launch memberships. So if you like my SoFi content, want to support the channel, you can definitely do so by joining as a member. And plus, I also have other tiers with buy signals on stocks and options and everything else. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with that, appreciate all of you watching.